Welcome to the NBA's greatest games. Today, we'll take you back into NBA history and relive one of the great matchups as it happened.
It's still unthinkable, isn't it? Destiny had a date with the Chicago Bulls, but now it flirts with the Seattle Sonics. Now, the Bulls' place alongside NBA legends doesn't seem like such a burning question. The only thing burning is the Bulls' 3-0 lead, suddenly down to 3-2. This is now where the NBA Finals will be decided. The Chicago Bulls are back home, not with the title, but instead with unfinished business. Game 6, next.
This is the NBA on NBC. The 1996 NBA Finals.
On their home floor this year, the Chicago Bulls are 48-2. Despite that, and despite the fact that they still have the clear upper hand in this series, there is, for the first time, a bit of uncertainty surrounding this team as they come home for Game 6. Hi, everybody, and happy Father's Day. I'm Bob Costas. That uncertainty surrounding the Chicago Bulls stems not just from the 2 straight defeats in Seattle. Only the second time this season the Bulls have lost consecutive games. Those games are over, but some of the Bulls' problems may not be. Ron Harper, very effective in the first 2 games here in Chicago, was virtually a spectator in Seattle because of an ailing knee that will require surgery at season's end. With knee and especially ankle ailments, Scottie Pippen can't explode to the basket, so the defense lays back and dares him to hit from the outside. So far, he hasn't, shooting under 33% and just 6 for 32 from three-point range. Steve Kerr is healthy, but his jump shot isn't. Usually he thrives on the open shots created by the double teams on Michael Jordan. But in this series, he's been miserable from downtown. 3 for 20 from outside the arc. Tony Kukoc excelled early against Seattle, but in Game 5, he couldn't pick up much of the slack, shooting just 5 of 13. All of this leaves Seattle, an excellent defensive team to begin with, double and triple teaming Jordan with near impunity. In the fourth quarter of Game 5, the time Jordan usually takes over, he managed just 2 points. Keep in mind that Harper's absence means Jordan spends considerable stretches guarding Gary Payton, another drain on Jordan's energies as the Bulls, the league's oldest team, play their 100th game of the season tonight. As for Seattle, right now, Shawn Kemp could be the series MVP. Gary Payton has come alive the last couple of games. And now that he's starting, Frank Brickowski has at least somewhat contained Dennis Rodman. Overall, the Sonics seemed the fresher team late in Game 5, a step quicker in every respect. And now here comes Game 6 on a quick turnaround less than 48 hours later. And so this series has taken on an entirely different tone as we return to Chicago, where talk of the Bulls' place in history has given way to the simple desire to see them finish this thing tonight before it really gets scary. Because if they don't, if the Sonics force a Game 7, Seattle will be the team on the verge of history. No team has ever recovered from an 0-3 deficit to win any kind of NBA playoff series, let alone the finals. And if Seattle can somehow do that, they will have staged simultaneously one of the greatest comebacks and one of the greatest upsets in the history of sports. So, is tonight the night Chicago celebrates? Or does Seattle push them to the brink? They're already roaring at the United Center, and tonight the Bulls need the crowd more than at any time this season to help reverse the momentum and lift them over the injuries and the fatigue. The guys who will call Game 6 over the din are Marv Albert, Matt Guokas, and Bill Walton. Go to it, Marvelous.
All right, thank you, Bob. And the way things were going over the first 3 games of this series, we did not expect to be standing back here courtside at the United Center discussing key points for game number 6. Matt, first of all, where has it all gone wrong for Michael Jordan and the Bulls?
Well, Michael cannot carry the whole offensive load. Everybody has to contribute, in particular, Scottie Pippen. Now, he has been heading in the wrong direction with his shot, much of it due to his various injuries, and that 33% puts even more pressure on everybody else. But here's how Scottie Pippen can be effective. He has a height advantage in most cases. And these are high-scoring percentage chances that need to be exploited. But overall, Chicago needs to regain their confidence, and this home court should make a world of difference.
All right, and Bill, as for Seattle, Shawn Kemp has been just terrific right throughout the series, but the changes for the Sonics really involve the upgrade and play of other people on the club aside from Shawn Kemp.
Marv, it's been a complete and remarkable turnaround for Seattle. The last time out, Chicago threw everything in their legendary arsenal at Seattle, and Seattle just spit it back and said, hey, if that's all you've got, we can win this thing. And nowhere has the turnaround been more evident than the play of Gary Payton, who's outplayed Michael Jordan the last 2 games, and George Karl will rue the early decision to hide and protect Payton from the king. The role players, though, for Seattle have contributed mightily. Detlef Schrempf, he's picked his spots, and he's been very big in the decisive run of Game 5. Nate McMillan back in the rotation from injury. Well, he's been on the floor the last 2 games. The Sonics have outscored Chicago by 34 points, and Hershey Hawkins, his scoring is up by 7 points per game in the 2 victories. Now, Seattle has youth, health, and momentum on their side. They'll play very well tonight. The questions, though, for the Bulls, they staggered home. They can't think they're just going to walk in here and hold on to a victory. They've got to go get it. All the pressure, Marv, it's on the Bulls and their fans.
All right, so coming up, it is Game 6 of the NBA Finals.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and a happy Father's Day to dads all around the world. The Chicago Bulls welcome the world's greatest fans to the United Center. Tonight's Game 6 of the NBA Finals is between the Seattle Supersonics